Hello, hello, and welcome. This is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness. I am, as I have titled myself, an author, speaker, seminar leader, Mimi, gardener, and a whole other slew of things that I embrace. On this show, I talk about how to expand your world of thought, explore the world of positive thinking, law of attraction, and consciousness from many points of view. It is my intention to share with you information that will enlighten and empower you in your life. I'm here to encourage you to think in the positive and show that miracles can happen because I truly believe you have been given the power of the word and thought to create the life that you desire. I want to take this moment to ask you, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video or podcast. And hit the thumbs up button if you like what you hear on this video. And if you don't, hit the thumbs down button. It helps me to know. And I would appreciate it very much if you would enter some comments below about what you are hearing me talk about, because that will help me in the future to talk about other things, or even to make notation in the comments about what you would like me to share. Many times we label ourselves, or other people give us labels, or organizations that we belong to give us labels or titles. However, so many times those labels or titles define who we are. We take those labels and titles and tie them to our worth. And that's not true. And in the true idea of being able to manifest the life you want, it really does help you to take yourself away from the titles and become the person that you truly want to be. Or give your own self a title whenever you say, I am. So I am the Silver Fox of Consciousness. And I've said many times before that that title was kind of laid on me in a marketing program and a coaching program. And I said, okay, I'll try it. And for a long time, I just said, I'm known as the Silver Fox of Consciousness versus I am. It took several years, and I finally said, I am. And it made a shift in what I thought about myself and the things that I bring to you and share with you and teach with you. So why did I choose this thing about who are you without your titles? Well, I'm a Sussex squad member. I follow the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and I've followed Meghan when she was on Suits, and before that, and then learning that she had found her prince and all of that. And for those of you who may not be familiar, they have been, the British media has just everything, no matter what she does, it's wrong. Even if other royals do the same thing. And I'm not going to go into all of that. You can go on Twitter, you can go on Google, Yahoo, and you'll find lots of information on that. But what I want to talk about is, when I'm talking about titles, is that the British media is really and truly upset because Meghan and Harry have taken their life into their own hands. They made the decision that they are going to be the masters of their fate, regardless of what that media says. Thankfully, they know that they have people who understand and know all the lies and the vitriol and misogyny and all those other terminologies that are out there, that there are people who know the truth and see them for who they really are. Hardworking, loving, caring people who want to make the world better. But this media is really working hard to tell the Queen to take away their titles. And there's a whole lot of stories about that, because if they took away their Duke and Duchess and their Earl and their Baron, their titles, Harry would still be Prince Harry. He's born a royal in all the things that are considered to be royal. But when you think about it, people know them. It's true that if Meghan had never married into the royal family, she may have met somebody else, but she wouldn't have the platform she has today. She had a huge platform. She had followers on Instagram and in her blog, and she was part of the UN, so she had things. Prince Harry, yeah, he's Prince Harry, and he got newspaper thing, but the newspaper always found what was wrong with him and not what was right, and they liked that because they wanted a buffoon. Now, why am I going on that? Just to say that yes, they have a larger platform as a married couple who were part of the monarchy, and now they've stepped back. They stopped being working royals and they're just royals, right? Just like a lot of others. But going back to the titles, who are you without your titles? Who are you without your doctorate or your PhD? Or are you a manager? Or are you, RN or any other title that you choose? You know, a lot of people, especially men, are tied to their titles at work. So as I was doing the research on this, so I'm giving you like preliminaries, but as I was doing the research on this idea of titles, one of the things that, by using Harry and Meghan as my example, is that Meghan has always known her worth. She has always known she has a voice. And she refused, well, she did for a while allow it to happen, but finally she wanted her voice back. She wanted to be able to defend herself against the lies that were being told against her, just like any of us would. Harry saw the lies that were told about him. I've watched some videos on him and him talking about, yeah, I watch the tabloids, I read them, and I see the lies that they print, and I go, how can anybody believe this? So they've been subject to a lot of lies, not misinformation, no, just out and out lies, or spun in a way that sometimes I don't even know how people tune up their lips to say such a thing, right? But I did some research as I was working on this, and I was trying to figure out this thing with titles. And so, number one, as I said, Meghan understands your worth, and hopefully you have come to understand your worth. I came to understand my worth when I was working as an independent coach. I've understood my worth and the value that I give to people when I'm working with them. So understanding your worth and not being defined by your perceived station in life. So I'm doing this research and I'm going, okay, royalty and pecking order for succession. And I was just, while in pondering this conversation, many classifications came to mind, as well as how all this relates to manifesting the life that you desire. I began doing Yahoo searches. I don't do Google. I found out that when I do Yahoo, I get better search answers than I do with Google. I don't know why, but sometimes I'll go over to Google. Okay, going back. So, like I said, I was looking on nobility and titles and monarchies, and finally, I found my way to the term that covers them all. And this term covers them in the United Kingdom, in India, in Africa, in Australia, in Canada, Mexico, South America. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what system you are under, this one word defines it. I mean, just succinctly, if I want to use that word, but the word is definitely, it really goes through that process of making the definition. And that word is classism. Classism. So think about new money and old money. And many in the United States know that. Plus, I'm sure in other countries you understand new money and old money. Old money in the United States are the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and, the Vanderbilts and all of those kind of people who made their money during Prohibition and, earlier in the century or in 19th and 20th century. And then there's new money, the people who are the new tech people with your Bill Gates and your Elon Musks and, a number of other people who now, Alexei, he did Reddit. That's new money. And then there's the classism of being an actor or actress or being in the arts. Those with old money look down on actors and actresses. Aristocracy in the United Kingdom, where the Duke dies and so the firstborn son becomes the Duke, and there's this whole thing of classism. And then if you weren't part of and then I found out that there's pecking orders for these things: a Duke, and then I think comes an earl or a baron, and then an earl, and then there's a viscount, and they're all have a pecking order. So if a viscount comes in front of a duke, the viscount has to bow to the duke. I mean, this stuff is ridiculous in my mind, right? So I've watched this, and I know that Meghan had a whole bunch of stuff considered against her in that institution. Number one being an actress. you know, Two, she's from America, and we're all of us Americans are arrogant and bold and don't know our place. And well, number one is that she is of mixed race, and so she's got some black in her, and now they're upset. People are upset because she's tainting the blue blood. So yes, racism is in there, and classism is in there, right? And so she was vilified, and Harry was threatened because he dared not to marry an English rose. All right, so I'm going through all that, right? But it's giving you an idea of what's going on here. Now, they dared to say, "We're done. We want to help you and do some things for you, the Queen, and help with your patriotism and stuff. but we're tired of being told we pay for you, we don't want to know everything about you, right? You live on our dollars. You have this, this life that you're using in our tax dollars, and it's like, no, we don't want that anymore because we don't want to be somebody's slave. And I'm using that in my terms, being a slave to people who want to tell you what to do and want to know everything about you. And my boss didn't want to know everything about me. He paid me a salary. The company paid me a salary. I did my work, but they could care less what I did at home, other than as long as it didn't reflect on my company. But in this thing, they wanted to know everything, right? And they said, no, we're going to let you know what we want you to know, just like every other, who I want to say, celebrity in the world. So they had a lot of things that they had to deal with. So here's the deal. If you were under this kind of pressure, what would you do? Would you give up your title? Would you give up your level in society? I've seen many people who would rather give up the love of their life or the their passion because they didn't want to give up the classification. And I say that because, they talk about, was it King Edward and Wallace Simpson, and he gave up being king to marry the woman he loved. They hated that because it was duty, and he was born into that duty, and he was born into he needed to step up to his responsibility. He didn't choose that. It was by an accident of birth that he was put in that position. It's just like, oh, mom's a doctor, dad's a doctor, so you're going to be a doctor when you grow up. But I don't want to be a doctor. I'm an artist. I want to make music. Nope, you got to go to college because that, and you're going to take over the practice or a family business, and we're grooming you all to come in and work in the family business. And the person said, I don't want to work in a family business because they know who they are and they know where their passion lies. But it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of self-worth, knowing your value in order to make the decision to step out and become the best that you could be. Self-value. Who are you? Whatever title you have at work or at home, it is like strip all that away, and who are you and what are your values? Because your values are what will sustain you. Knowing that you are worthy and that you are valuable and that you have something to offer the world, and you've been offering the world something that people can't take away from you. When I was younger, I was teased, and I was told, I, you know, I was told I couldn't sing. I don't know who you are. You don't think you can't sing worth a lick. You can't do that. And I was, you know, vulnerable enough that I believed them. And these are the kids around me, some of the older kids. But then with that peer pressure, even though at church I was in the choir, the youth choir, and I was the one singing solos. But I still thought I couldn't sing, but I didn't think about the fact that the choir director was always putting me up to sing solos at special events or church, teas, right? I would be doing that. When I changed schools and I joined the choir director talked to my mother and my parents and said, I would like to give her voice lessons. Her voice is this and that. But I believed those kids because I didn't know about my self-worth. It wasn't until I was older that I recognized the capability. But by the time I did that, I wasn't interested in making it a career, but I just enjoyed singing. What is it that you love to do? What are you good at? What is it that you find is your passion? There are times, yes, when we got to take a job so we can pay the bills, but what is it that is your passion? Are you brave enough, like Harry and Meghan, to walk away from a level of life that is cozy, that can give you a lot of perks, that you can, you know, you get money that you didn't have to earn or whatever, because I'm just projecting because I have no idea what their life inside of the palace was, but living in big palaces or visiting them and all of that. Would you be willing to give up that life? Would you be willing to give up a life in a fishbowl? A lot of people say, I want to be famous. I want to be this. I want to be I want to be like Beyonce or Obama or, whomever. But they don't realize what comes with that fame and intrusions into your life and news media and people digging into your life and people vilifying you like Obama and the tan suit. Some of you know what I'm talking about. He wore a tan suit and they had a fit. A president shouldn't be wearing a tan suit. Granted that Reagan and Bush and Clinton all wore tan suits too, but that's getting off. But are you willing? If you wanted that life, are you willing to be in that fishbowl? Or do you, but for them, for Meghan and Harry, they were in a fishbowl and they had no control. They would try to do something and it would be leaked to the news media, even though they had planned an announcement, right? Do you want to be in that fishbowl where people can talk about you, but you can't say clean it up? Do you value that title so much that you're working for a company that are doing things that you don't believe in, but you value being that vice president or CEO or whatever of that company, even though their values are not yours because you want the title and the money? Are you willing to look at your value? Are you willing to do the thing that is best for you, your family, your planet, your community, versus just, being treated badly? When you step back and you start looking at who you are and what you want to be, and you start setting your intention, truly set your intention about what you want, then you get to change your life and you get to become the person that you want to be. When Harry and Meghan decided to step back, they put out their intention on their Instagram and on their webpage on Sussex Royal, right? And they told you what they wanted. And they said that they wanted truth and honesty, that they would deal with news media on their terms, that there were 4 particular news media that they would not talk to, and that if you heard anything from those news media, please know that it did not come from them. You see, because Harry and Meghan, to that British media, they were cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. and they didn't want that. And so that British media is so angry now because Harry and Meghan have taken control of their narrative and their life, and they are what the British media didn't expect. They are successful in what they're doing, and they're doing the things that they desire. Are you strong enough to do that? Can you make the decision in your life to decide to become the person that you really want to be? And then set your intention and write it out of what you want and how you want to be treated and how you're going to treat other people. This is good for you and for your family, and it will make you happier. Just as we Sussex Squad members see how happy Harry and Meghan are, and we love it when they make announcements in such a way that, and I noticed this, they do not make direct announcement. If you ever see the announcement, it's from their patronage, it's from some charity that they have, or when they did the Netflix deal or the Spotify deal, it came from Netflix or Spotify. They have not made direct announcements. They're not on, and I'm just going to throw this in here because there was a story about them leaving social media, but they haven't been on social media since they stepped back, and their Instagram account and their website have been mothballed, quiet. And a few others believe that that was part of their agreement when they left, that they wouldn't be on social media or something like that. Because they have deliberately not been there. So people were saying, well, how are we going to hear from them? And we've heard from them through their charities. And whenever their charities make an announcement, and listen, by doing it through their charities donations go up. When they went to Baby to Baby, they went to Mayhew for the dogs that, Camp Fed, and the Such a Squad does fundraisers of all the royals. Because they are living in integrity and living by intention, their charities and the charities that they talk about get an influx of money during this time. Now, understand, now some of those donations, like I gave $25 to one and 20 to another, but by the time you add up the thousands of $20 or $10, or some people could only give $5, those charities got a huge influx of money during this pandemic when they couldn't do fundraisers. So tell me, would you rather be helping your family and the people you love, and if you have a charity or something that you feel strongly about, and you could step away and become the person you want to be, and that everybody wins, versus being stuck in a fishbowl or in a job that you hate or with a company that doesn't do your values? So I'm going to tell you, make up your mind. Make up your mind and make a decision. For me, I will follow what the example that Meghan and Harry have done. And you notice I've called them Meghan and Harry because Harry has said, just call me Harry, and Meghan says, I'm just Meghan, because they know they could care less about their titles. The titles help, right? The titles in the beginning help for them to be on the stage, but even if they strip their titles away from them, they strip away their patronages, and everybody said if they strip their patronages, it is petty. But I know this, and I'm willing to bet this. They can strip those patronages, but the monarchy has no control over those charities in who they can bring on. So it was like the National Theater. They made a thing about Meghan not paying any attention to the National Theater, and the theater had asked for her to be stepped down. And the National Theater came back and said, we didn't say that. You know, the Duchess of Sussex has been dealing with us and working, and we like her being here, right? The what is it? The kitchen from the Grenfell fire where she did the cookbook. They want her. Mayhew says we're going to keep her. We want her. They took her away as a royal patronage and just made her part of that. They're talking about taking away like the president and vice president of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. But I need to do more research, but I don't think they can because Harry started that program and it's his patronage. He started it just like he did Invictus Games and the Endeavor Fund, and he's working with Well Child and all the other ones. They do such good work that the patronage and the charities will make their own decision as to whether they'll be taken off or not. I truly believe that they do such wonderful work that they'll say, well, they can stop being a royal patron, but we want them on the board or we want them here because they truly help us to stay in business and raise enough money and enough attention that we don't have to worry about closing down. I guess you hear that I am really, an advocate for them and I love what they do. But I also want you to see that by seeing them step into who they are, seeing them take control of their own lives, seeing them say, I don't care, right? You can do what you want to do, and you can be as mad as you want. And the other one is I love, we will sue you. And they have sued, and I think the thing right now is 5-0, 5 wins and 0 losses. And they only pick their battles. And that's what you need to do. Well, yeah, I've been talking a while, but this is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and thank you for listening to me today. Please subscribe, hit the bell, hit your thumbs up, and follow me on Twitter. I am Beverly Fells Joan, Jon. All right. And then on Facebook, you can find me at Beverly Fells Jones, and my fan page is Commanding Your Life. But I will see you in the next podcast.